Monroe County Community School Board held work sessions this week, taking public feedback on the proposed merger between Templeton and Childs elementary schools. The merger is meant to balance socioeconomic status of families, but the parent opinion on the strategy is split. WTIU has this story.
It's a flurry of activity for Sam Topin-Hochstadt and Katie Edmonds on a weekday morning, getting a preschooler and kindergartner out the door. Brushing teeth, combing hair, eating breakfast, shoes, jacket, bags, and they're off. Sam usually bikes with their son Leo to his school, Childs Elementary, but today they're walking.
I walked to elementary school every day with my dad as a kid, and I really wanted to be able to do that with my kids.
Walkable infrastructure and transportation logistics are some of their top concerns with the merger. The proposed grade split for pre-K through second grade and third through sixth also poses challenges, splitting their kids into separate elementary schools.
When my daughter starts kindergarten in a year and a half, then we would potentially have kids at two different schools instead of having them be at the same school. And that just makes everything much more difficult.
The merger is meant to balance socioeconomic status of families between the schools. Childs has one of the lowest rates in the district, while Templeton has one of the highest.
I totally understand why the board is trying to address this and why it's been a challenge for them to come up with strategies to address.
The school board voted Tuesday to start evaluating redistricting options, which Sam and Katie are more in support of because it addresses inequalities among the schools more widely. Across town, Colleen Rose goes over homework with her youngest daughter, Anne Cash, before school, while her oldest daughter, Noelle, practices piano. It's a typical morning in their house, packing up for a drive to Templeton Elementary.
I do mornings because my spouse is a teacher and he heads out, so I get the girls ready.
They were excited to hear about the proposed merger between Templeton and Childs. Her husband's a teacher in the district, and they have experience with Fairview and Templeton, which have some of the highest rates of students on free and reduced lunch in the district.
There's so much concentrated poverty and thus trauma in the classrooms that it makes it really difficult to teach. It makes it difficult for kids to learn.
Her family likes Templeton, its teachers, and the education they receive there.
We wanted our kids to have an opportunity to, while they were young, to experience people who may have different stories from them, different experiences from them, and it has been mostly positive.
But she says children coming from generational poverty are shortchanged by the imbalance. In 2023, the Monroe County Community School Corporation ranked 78th in Indiana for iRead results with a passing rate of just under 92%. Of MCCSC's elementary schools, Childs had the second highest passing rate at over 95%. Templeton's passing rate for iRead was 79%. This week, the school board held sessions at Jackson Creek Middle School in Templeton to gather public feedback and hold public discussion on the merger. April Hennessy, the school board president, says MCCSC is set on addressing educational access in the district as part of its 5-year strategic plan, and the merger is one idea.
So that isn't just about balancing SES, it's about the disciplinary disparity in our schools and how that impacts certain populations differently than others. It's about the sort of hiring of diverse individuals that represent our students and our school communities.
Hennessy says the school board proposed the merger as an idea to be evaluated with the community, which is why more analysis hasn't been done prior to bringing it to the public.
And I've heard things like, well, we should have started with a better plan. But then I've also heard things like, well, we want transparency and we want to be part of making the plan.
At the Wednesday night meeting at Jackson Creek, she told parents the board is in the information gathering phase. Katie left Wednesday's meeting with mixed feelings and doesn't understand why the initial merger proposal included an implementation goal for August this year if the board is gathering information.
I think a lot of us would support being redistricted into Templeton. I know I would. And yet we're very uncomfortable with this method of splitting up the schools in a strange way.
On Thursday night at Templeton, the board continued the conversation. Rose says she's waited a long time for disparities between schools to be addressed. She will be disappointed if a merger doesn't happen, but not surprised.
The proof will be in the pudding. It's been 30 years since we've redistricted, so I hope we're ready to do what we need to do and not have another 30 years.
She feels optimistic about the board's commitment to addressing disparities between schools. For Indiana News Desk, I'm Benta Boutier.
The board will discuss the merger again at its March meeting. They're also advertising for experts currently to provide information on redistricting.